There's a toxic culture pervasive throughout the black community here in America that I'd like to talk about. It's a topic many are afraid to speak on, especially fellow members of the black community, because of the potential social backlash and disownment they may face for speaking out. And that already leads me into my first point, which is a forced sheep mentality that a lot of black folks force onto each other. The quickness to disown a fellow member of their own community for simply not sharing the same opinions or ideals. It's more cult-like than it is community. Being black isn't a way of thought. It's a skin color. If a black man works for the police department or votes for Republican candidates, he's still black. And I think to suggest otherwise is incredibly racist in itself, because you're implying that all black people are one-dimensional and should be herd like sheep, which is not something you see expected from white people. We see this a lot from the left. Liberals love to guilt trip and attack black people and other minorities whenever they reveal themselves to be independent thinkers because they feel entitled to their support. They treat minorities as if they're below them and that they should do the thinking for them and just have them follow along. So when they don't follow along, they feel a sense of betrayal from the minority they feel entitled to. People need to stop tying personality traits, ways of thought, vernacular, and actions to something that is a social construct, which is what race is. We are humans. We are not all one-dimensional, nor should we be expected to be. If a black person wants to watch hockey instead of basketball or football, that doesn't mean they're any less black. It simply means they have an interest that may not be a common interest throughout their community. The quickness to disown each other is an incredibly toxic trait I see quite often within the black community. It isn't healthy. It's not healthy to feel like your own community has their foot on your back ready to kick you out the door if you do or say anything that isn't in line with what everyone else is doing or saying. And what I feel the black community in America is severely lacking right now is a strong voice for its people, a figure not swayed by politics, clout, or money, a powerful and unbiased voice, and not anything like Black Lives Matter, which was entirely motivated by greed and did nothing but spread misinformation and violence and divide the people rather than unite them to any degree. And it didn't just divide black folks and other races, but it majorly divided the black community itself as well. And not like black celebrities who claim to support their communities, yet will throw all their money at a $500,000 chain before directing it towards the communities they claim to represent. The same rappers and such who profit largely off promoting black on black violence, drug usage, drug dealing, gangs, and helping spread all sorts of other negative influences onto their own communities before investing in them and actually providing for them. And definitely not the people who merely pretend to be a positive influence, like Meek Mill, for example, who loves to preach positivity and reform to his community, then will turn around and make songs about killing people within his own community. And certainly not the elites behind the scenes either, who profit the most off of the death of black people. A rapper dies, the album sales skyrocket. A rapper is allegedly responsible for killing another black man and really lives what he raps, those numbers go up. They love it. They love watching black folks kill each other because it means more money in their pockets. As far as they're concerned, the less black people get along with each other, the more money they can make off them. And the people feed right into it. The same people who claim they wish to see the conditions within the black community improve are also the same people with Spotify playlists full of songs about black folks killing each other, repping different gangs, circulating drugs within their own communities, etc. It's the same energy as those who claim they want equality for blacks, yet want segregated dormitories, graduation ceremonies, and spaces. That doesn't sound like equality to me. That sounds like racial segregation. It sounds like the exact opposite of uniting us. But black folks aren't the issue here, though. It's not a matter of skin color. It's a matter of the toxic and destructive culture we find pervasive within the African American community. A culture of violence, entitlement, and many other negative traits I'll elaborate on later. Want to know some of the most racist folks you'll find out here towards African Americans? Africans. I've heard some African folks say some of the most wild shit I've heard with my own two ears about African Americans. Jamaicans as well. Even old school African Americans who will snap on you quick to pull your pants up and fix your hat. Why? Because it isn't a race thing. It's not about skin color, it's about culture. Our skin color is not what unites us, it's our cultures. So when I refer to black people in this video, I'm not referring to all black people. I'm referring to the black people who are mentally enslaved to the modern, degenerate, and toxic African American culture, which does not apply to all black people. Over time, the culture within the African American community has degraded. Respect for elders is hardly existent. Modesty isn't cherished whatsoever, especially when some of the most famous and influential black women out here are shaking their asses in music videos and rapping about sucking dick. for Birkin bags. You don't hear Taylor Swift out here talking about popping pussy for red bottoms or hiding a Glock for her man. Wanna know why? She doesn't need to, because the expectations for decency are set higher for white people, Asians, etc. Because the social backlash for their degenerate behaviors is far more harsh, because if you attack them for acting a certain way, you won't get called racist for it. Not like you would for critiquing a black person in the same fashion. And I'm sick of these libs using black people as instruments to push their own separatist and racially divisive agendas under the guise of progressiveness. I'm sick of seeing these white saviors on these platforms like Ethan Klein and Hassan acting like they speak for or represent a community they're completely out of touch with, pretending to know what's best for them when really they just use minorities as stepping stones. It's manipulative and predatory. People with lots of influence, such as content creators, figureheads in the media, and elites, know that if they reinforce the victim complex of the black community, it's easier to manipulate and control them. They're like the politician that shows up to people's doorsteps in the hood to convince them that if they vote for them, they'll help out their community, when really they're just manipulating them for extra support to ultimately give nothing back and do nothing of any significance for those communities. A lot of people who say black people can't be racist are typically just incredibly hateful people who make everything about race and use mental gymnastics to justify their racism and hateful behavior. That statement, by definition, is not true. Anybody can be racist, and if you think otherwise, you're just ignorant. A lot of people like to say that black people can't be racist, they can only be prejudiced. But when you actually look at the definition of racism, it says right here, prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism by an individual, community, or institution against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalized. So to say that black people can't be racist, but only prejudice doesn't make any sense, because being prejudiced towards somebody because of their race is being racist, as you can see in the definition of racism. Well, so if a black person says, I wasn't racist to this white guy, I was just prejudiced towards him, yeah, that's a form of racism by definition. And what a lot of people like to do is say, oh, but it says it needs to be one that is a minority or marginalized. That doesn't make sense either, because here it says typically. Typically does not mean all the time, it means typically. So that argument doesn't make any sense whatsoever. A lot of people say that to be racist, you need some systematic or systemic power over other. No, you don't. Okay, that the word systemic or systematic is nowhere in either of these definitions here. Where people got this new made up definition of racism from, but it is not the definition of racism. Anybody can be racist, and that's all there is to it. As a mixed race person, I get hate from all races, not just one. And in my lifetime, I've experienced more racism from black people than I have from any other race. By a landslide. I moved around a lot and even lived in a town where Confederate flags were hanging around, and still experienced far less racism there than where I currently live, where the population is majority black. Asian people get treated like shit here, white people get treated like shit here, and so on. Many biracial people I know personally and have spoken with have shared this exact same sentiment. I worked at a restaurant where our waiters and waitresses would refuse to seat white tables. You're gonna tell me that's not racist behavior? Your constant excusing and justification for this bullshit is why we are here in the first place. It's why it festers and grows to the degree at which it does. It is a complete lack of accountability, and whether you want to classify it as racism or not, it's all wrong just the same. It doesn't matter the word you use to describe it. Mistreating somebody because they're white or because they're Asian is equally as bad as mistreating somebody because they're black. And if you think otherwise, newsflash, you're racist. The Cenat situation recently perfectly sums up my issue with modern African American culture in regards to lack of accountability. Cenat is a massive streamer, I think the biggest streamer at the moment, and he announced that he'd be giving away gaming consoles and other various expensive items at Union Square in New York City. He didn't actually plan anything out or organize anything at all, basically just announced for his whole audience to meet him at Union Square for a giveaway. Now, as the common sense individual I'd hope you are, whoever's watching this right now, what do you think would happen? What do you think would happen if one of the biggest streamers announced to their massive audience of young fans to all gather up in one spot in New York City to collect a bunch of free and expensive shit with no actual organization or proper planning in place? Does that sound like it would go well? Like, from a common sense standpoint, does that actually sound like that would unfold peacefully? From what I understand, Cenat and I are only a year apart. Dude, there is no goddamn way you're that fucking stupid at 21. You are a grown ass man. There is no way you didn't see this shit coming. Are you actually that unable to see 2 steps ahead of yourself? You thought just gathering thousands of people to come collect free expensive ass shit in the middle of New York City with zero organization behind it would end well? How did you expect it to be organized if you didn't organize it? But this is the dude whose entire career is based on screaming at a camera and flirting with ethos, so I expect nothing less than the sheer stupidity that was on full display. But I also find it funny that as soon as shit really got popping, he took off. But all the innocent people whose shit got destroyed and looted and broken into didn't have that same luxury. They had to sit there and deal with the consequences of your negligence, your complete lack of ability to control your audience that you gathered there, your complete lack of ability to properly organize a massive meeting with your massive influence. Grown ass man, bro. But then you have shit like this where you got famous black celebrities with a lot of influence like Offset coming out and saying, how you gonna lock Kai up for giving back to his fans? New York be tripping. And then you have tons of other celebrities and figureheads who have a lot of influence on the black community, especially the youth, saying the same shit. You have all these people with massive influence who should be holding him accountable, basically just excusing him. Oh, he was just trying to do a good thing. Oh, he was just trying to give back to his community. Look, I get that was his intention, but look at the result. In the real world, where people hold each other accountable, we don't look at intentions, we look at results. If your chiropractor's intention was to realign your spine but ends up snapping your vertebrae and paralyzing you, it doesn't really matter that their intention was to help you now, does it? No. Because due to their negligence, the result was terrible. It's not a drunk driver's intention to crash into another vehicle and kill an entire family. But due to their negligence, the result was terrible. Defending or excusing his blatant negligence with, oh, well, it wasn't his intention, he just wanted to give back, is the most juvenile and brain-dead line of thought I've ever seen. It's not about the intention, it's about the outcome. This dude is too influential to be this negligent. It's dangerous, obviously. How many thousands of dollars of other people's property do you think was lost in the aftermath? Over what, 70 arrests were made? Businesses looted, people beat and assaulted, cars destroyed, etc. It doesn't matter what your intention was when the outcome was chaos, vandalization, and destruction. And a lot of people are saying that he's not responsible for the crimes they committed. Bro, he's the reason they're there in the first place. He's the catalyst of the entire thing. What do you mean he's not responsible? Y'all gotta get off TikTok and start using your brains. And then you got Hassan, Mr. White Savior, master of brain dead takes, with this reaction to the whole thing.
His whole kiosk was ransacked, all the ships were broken and pulled apart, things were taken off of it, and he was saying that he was injured because he was trying to stop the kids and they hit his head, his neck, his back. The gentleman is in his 60s, and, you know, he was talking to EMTs that were there and talking to the police that were there, giving them a report of what happened, but, you know, a totally just innocent victim in all this, that he was just doing his job, going about his day, and his business got ransacked there. But from where we are here, you know,
I fucking despise local media, dude. There you go. There is no better representation of how dog water local media is, and how much they exacerbate like narratives that you see on Fox News. What role they play in the boomer reactionary pipeline. Local media talking about $3 worth of Doritos, like, you know, there was a bank run or some shit. Like, also want to make it seem like, you know, this is a riot that was completely out of control. It's tragedy met with also like black unruly teenagers.
Of course, the multi-millionaire champagne socialist Amazon employee thinks it's just a $3 bag of Doritos. This dude is too dense to see that it's a whole lot more than that. He has no idea what this guy put in to get these products to sell. It's more than just a $3 bag of Doritos to him. It's his livelihood. You got people who just got to this country who spent their last dimes on these food carts and supplying them, and these spoiled ass kids are ransacking them and destroying them. It's more than just a $3 bag of Doritos, but you have zero empathy, so I wouldn't expect you to actually be able to conceptualize how deep this shit really is for some people out here. People actually struggle and don't just sit around in a mansion all day making millions to bitch and talk shit about meaningless shit on the internet. This dude is so disconnected from reality. It's actually astonishing that anybody takes his goofy ass even a little bit serious. I've never seen such a spoiled shit. I mean, an elderly man got beat and robbed, and this dude is sitting there laughing about it. Like, what kind of sick, demented bullshit even is that, bro? Like, what is actually wrong with you? All this dude does is pander and echo the same trending liberal takes that are trending on Twitter or whatever. Like, this dude has no actual, real, genuine stance or belief on anything. He's just gonna say whatever he thinks his audience wants to hear and double down on everything and keep fueling his cult. That's this man's only purpose. This is not a person who's for the people, and this is certainly not a person who's for the impoverished or for the minorities. This dude grew up rich and spoiled and is completely disconnected from reality. Look, there's a lot of people out here busting their ass for the bare minimum, and now these people can't go to work tomorrow because some negligent multimillionaire streamer who thinks life is a big ass game gathered their fans and had them run rampant through the streets, destroying people's cars and businesses in the process. Bunch of young ass kids with no concept of hard work who probably never worked a day in their life because they're fresh out their father's nutsack and mommy pays for everything for them. They just sit in a live stream all day with their face pressed against a computer screen spamming W's in the chat, and they're out here destroying the property of hardworking people just trying to get by, just trying to go to work and put food on the table in peace. They're shattering their windows and smashing up their cars. The thing is, a lot of people are deathly afraid to hold the black community accountable because they might get called racist if they do it, but it's only racist if you're racist. Calling this shit out is the opposite of racist. I critique what I see going on in the black community because I know black people are capable of so much more than what I'm seeing on a daily basis, both in person and on social media. I hate when I go to the gym in white areas and all the weights are put up, the machines get wiped down, and people actually take care of the machines. But at my primarily black gym, the weights are thrown around everywhere. There's trash on the floor and all over the entrance. Machines are constantly breaking down because people are being too hard on them, and nobody wipes shit down and leaves machines soaked in sweat when they're finished with them. I mean, 2 people were just shot and killed right outside my gym in a 2-week span. That shit upsets me because I know black folks are capable of better. I shouldn't have to drive to white areas to get some decent service or avoid public drama. Most black folks I know in my area have to drive 40 minutes out just to go to a movie theater because there's so much bullshit at our local ones. There shouldn't be big ass lit up signs outside our shopping centers begging people to not steal from the stores. I hold black folks to the same standard I hold everybody else at because I view black folks as equal and want to see our community do better. It's folks like Hassan and all these other toxic radical lefties who treat black folks like they can do no wrong and they're capable of nothing better, constantly making excuses for them as if they're below them or lesser, like they're children or something. That is racist because you're implying that they're capable of nothing more. I don't want to see the black community keep degrading itself and destroying itself, so I don't make excuses for bullshit when I see it. I hold everybody to the same standard because that is equality. You'd be lying to yourself if you looked at modern African American culture and said it's a healthy culture that promotes excellence. I think the black youth in America is lost and they have horrible examples to follow. Cenat being one of them, apparently. I believe in true equality. I don't think anybody should be celebrated for the color of their skin. I don't think anybody should receive special treatment or afforded excuses for their poor behavior because of the color of their skin. I don't think anybody is worth more than anybody else in any conceivable sense on the basis of skin color. Being born white or black is not worthy of praise or reward. It is simply the complexion you've been born with. It isn't an achievement. That is a true equal mindset. And this isn't an attack on black folks. It's a critique on a toxic culture that everybody is too afraid to critique. I don't feel guilty critiquing it because I know my intentions are good. I critique it because I want to see black people in America prosper to their full potential and stop degrading themselves. I want to see the black youth stop killing each other at absurd rates. I want to see more black kids pay attention in school and stop arguing and fighting with teachers and distracting their classmates who are actually trying to do something with their lives. I want to see the value for life itself within the black community increase. I want to see kids stop throwing up gang signs and joining gangs because they have no real father figure in their lives, so they are tempted to cling on to any sort of acceptance they can get from anybody, which comes in the form of a gang that terrorizes their own community. They join a gang because they're looking for family and loyalty, something that they can't even find within their own family nowadays. I think it's ridiculous seeing people who need to wear Black Lives Matter shirts as if we don't already know that shit. The only people who are treating black lives like they don't matter for the most part are other black folks, because black folks are killing each other more than anybody else. So who is that message really for? I'm not afraid to point this shit out. I've lived it. I didn't learn about it from some outdated textbook in some liberal college somewhere. I lived it. I experienced it. This is my life. And I see the struggle and degeneracy every single day with my own two eyes through my entire black community and family. I won't be lectured by somebody who hasn't really been out here for real. Don't speak for me. I'll speak for myself. These other folks are scared to speak on this shit because they feel guilt. Because I believe that deep down they are racist and they have a guilty conscience. So they have to compensate for their deep-rooted racism by being overly supported for black folks and excusing everything they do. And that applies to all races that do it. I don't feel that guilt, so I speak honestly and unapologetically. And speaking of unapologetically, I'm sick of black folks causing public disturbances and saying they're just unapologetically black. Stop associating acting like you have no home training with being black. Stop associating speaking proper, understandable English with speaking white. This type of shit going on through the community is what sets us back. If a white woman clutches her bag when a group of black people walk by her, it's not because she's racist. It's because she probably saw 15 videos that morning alone of black folks robbing and beating people on social media. It's not racism, it's pattern recognition. It's a survival instinct. I know black folks who clutch their bags and tuck their chains around other black folks in certain areas. Well, are they racist? People need to understand that their individual actions are reflective of their entire community, especially when they're a minority. Some people's only exposure to black people is from what they see on the internet. And if all you saw was this all the time, would you want to be around black people? Would you feel comfortable around them? If this was your only exposure and you knew no better? Don't cry racism when these store owners are breathing down your neck when you come into the shop, making sure you don't steal shit, because all they're doing is recognizing a pattern. I get followed in stores all the time, but I don't get mad about it because I understand it. Because I know a bunch of folks who look like me are the ones stealing from them. I know a bunch of folks that look like me are the ones they see on social media looting all these stores. They don't know me personally. All they know is that I belong to a community with a pattern of stealing shit and vandalizing stores. So I don't take it personally. Don't get mad when businesses start pulling out of black neighborhoods and force black people to drive 30, 40 minutes out to hit a grocery store. How are you going to defend black folks looting and destroying these stores, then get mad when the stores are pulling out? Don't get mad when businesses start refusing service to black folks. Where I used to live, we had a pizza spot that refused to deliver to black neighborhoods at night. Why? It's not because they were racist. It's because the pizza delivery guys were always getting robbed out there. Same shit with a Chinese spot we had. They had to shut down their whole restaurant because their son got shot and killed while delivering in one of those neighborhoods. This shit makes the entire community suffer. It's reflective on everybody, even those who aren't involved, because that is how communities work. You are a representative of your community. So represent your community in a respectable manner. And that's what this video is. It's not a critique on black people. It's a critique on the culture. A culture that belongs to me, a culture I grew up with, a culture that I love. But I'm willing to critique it because I love it. I think if you just make excuses for his negligence and don't hold him accountable for what his community went and did to the streets of New York City, then you're just letting shit slide and nothing's going to change that way. It's so unfortunate that a black influencer has this sort of influence to this magnitude over the youth, right? The black youth in this country. And they're doing nothing with it. They're just causing destruction with it. Like, that is so unfortunate. It's such a waste of influence. That doesn't mean be their parent and, not be entertaining, but don't do this shit. You know what I mean? Like, set a good example, bro. This is not setting a good example. I just think it's unfortunate. It's crazy that the potential for getting so many people on track is just thrown away. I mean, you see there's obviously an issue with the black youth in this country, like with the looting and the violence and everything, bro. And instead of using your platform to try to help the youth, you use it to cause havoc in the streets and make a big joke and mockery of the shit that took place. All the people that can't go to work the next morning because your community destroyed all their shit. It's so unfortunate. Honestly, it's so sad. Look at this. Just going up, kicking the car, destroying it for no reason, checking the windows, seeing if there's anything of value inside, just breaking shit, being destructive for no reason, fighting in a mob, just going crazy. This shit is so sad, bro. Look at, bro, what even is this? And you got more of this same shit. You got this store owner, he's just chilling, doing his thing. And look, if he were to get up and follow them around he would be the problem, right? Everyone would call him racist and shit, right? So look, they go putting some stuff on the counter, you know, like acting like they're gonna pay for shit. And he's chilling, you know, he's just being chill about it, just waiting. Yup. Just out the door with it. There it goes. That's it. That's crazy. And you have so many videos of shit like this going down. Like, look at this shit right here. Look at this. And they out with it. Just like that. Like, just imagine if somebody didn't live around any black folks and this is all they see on social media on a regular basis. This is their only exposure to black people they see on the internet. What do you think they're gonna think? Look at this shit. What do you think they're gonna think about them? You see this shit is all the time. It's crazy, bro. It really is. Like, this shit is so shameful. Same thing right here, an Asian family getting assaulted, likely for no reason. Even the camera person in this got beat up by these same girls. And she's over here asking the camera girl, stop recording without my permission. Meanwhile, her friends are assaulting people on the train. So other people are trying to get involved and help, and look, they go assault the camera lady. In her face and shit, scaring her daughter. Look at this shit, bro. Look at this. And look, she sees her again, so they go attack her. Look at this, bro.
The internet is blowing up when a mob of 9 thieves
then you got more and more of it. Look at this.
Taking thousands of dollars worth of luxury bags, clothes, you name it, and sprint out the store while the security guard watches hopelessly. On the same day, a Jules was robbed, over $1 million worth of stuff was taken. They say you get what you vote for. What do you think?
And this isn't cherry picking. This isn't narrative painting. I mean, this is the shit that's always trending. You don't see other groups doing this shit. I'm sorry, you just don't. And once again, I'll say it's not black people. Black people are not the problem. You can't blame black people. It's the culture that is deteriorating the community, making them act like this, making them think that this shit is okay. This is black entitlement. You can't go on about white privilege and white entitlement and shit when you got people doing this shit and facing no repercussions for it, feeling entitled to this shit, considering it reparations and shit. You can't justify it and say it's not black entitlement, because if anyone else did this, you wouldn't try to justify it. Listen to this. You even hear the girl saying, y'all are bugging, we can't have shit. This girl's probably what, like 16, 17. Even she sees what's going on, bro. She sees the people in her own community destroying shit for no reason. And she's saying this is why we can't have shit. You got more of this. There's more of this going on. Shit is crazy. Like getting in a whole ass war with the people behind the counter. Smashing shit, breaking shit, throwing shit. You don't see Asian people doing this shit out here, bro. I'm sorry, you just don't. Like, this shit is crazy. Look at this. Wow, bro. That's crazy. Look, trying to steal shit. That's wild, bro. That's wild. They think this shit's hilarious, too. All laughing and shit.
Not even see.
Look at this, bro.
Oh, they taking
Yeah, they think this shit is hilarious. And this little kids, bro. Like, these are little kids.
I think they're registered. This nigga think they're he stole the cash.
Wow, bro. But if McDonald's were to come out and pull their restaurants out of black neighborhoods and shit, oh, then they'd be racist. Then there would be a problem, right? Meanwhile, you have shit like this going on. Once again, this dude just came in here with a whole ass trash can and just dumping shit. Look at this.
Ain't nothing you can do, man, until police come.
Even he, but okay, in this video I can't show it, but the two people that work there end up whooping his ass. But I mean, like, look at this dude though, bro. Look at this dude.
Ain't nothing you can do, man.
And you got more anarchy from the Cenat situation. Look at this shit, bro. That's crazy.
Popular 80-year-old
Once again, look,
neighborhood ice cream
vendor getting robbed
after being robbed in East Oakland. It happened this week in the Fruitvale neighborhood. He says the armed robbers took $120.
Look at this shit, bro.
So far, no arrests. A grassroots effort has already generated thousands of dollars online.
This dude got robbed for selling ice cream in their community. But here's the thing is, if he were to not do that, if someone asked, why don't you sell in these communities? And he were to say, oh, I don't want to sell to black people or around black people because I'm more likely to be assaulted and robbed, they'd call him racist. And people want to complain, oh, well, the ice cream truck don't want to come around these black neighborhoods. What's up with that shit? That sounds a little racist to me. It's not racist, bro. Look what's going on, bro. How is it racist? Look at what the community is doing to itself, bro. Why would anybody risk it? It's pattern recognition. It's not racism.
Shoplifting
Once
has
again,
been at an all-time high.
all the culprits,
People are
bro.
walking into retail stores
Pattern
and ripping off all of
recognition.
the clothing tags
That's
and
all
simply
this shit
walking out
is.
with them. This is allegedly happening at Nike, Target, and even Ross. People have been going into grocery stores like Walmart and are simply eating food off the shelves without paying
Look
for
at
it.
this
There are even
shit,
videos
bro.
of people licking the ice cream located in the freezer section and simply putting it back for the next person to buy.
And this right here is what I mean when I say African American culture does not promote excellence and it promotes degeneracy. Because look at this shit right here.
I'm trying to get my coochie stretch. I'm trying to get my coochie stretch and eat a nigga ass. Eat a nigga ass. We be eating niggas ass today in London. Period, baby. I'm trying to get this coochie stretch.
They think this shit is cute because they made a whole career off acting like this over in America. And they're bringing this bullshit over to London. Imagine the old white folks right there who probably don't really get too much contact with black folks, black Americans, etc. What kind of impression do you think these ladies just left them with? As they're walking the street screaming, I'm trying to get my coochie scratched, I'm trying to eat ass. Like, what kind of impression do you think you're leaving everybody with on your people? And this is what I mean when I say, like, be a representative for your community. Represent your community well, because they're not just going to look at you and think you're crazy. They're going to look at your whole community and think everyone in your community is crazy. Once again, more bullshit for no reason. Look at this shit. He's going to go in there and he's going to release a big ass rat in the restaurant. Once again, just causing trouble, creating havoc for no reason. Look at this shit. Like, why, bro? Why? Just for no reason, bro. Once again, you see these news headlines all the time on social media. Just imagine someone who doesn't live around black people, who actually can't see that not all black people are like this. This is their only exposure to them. Imagine the type of impression that will be left with them. And once again, right here, we have an Uber driver with a black passenger, and he ends up getting beat up and put at gunpoint. And I think they even tried to pull the trigger on him, but it jammed. But you see, like, if he were to turn a black customer down on the app or whatever, oh, he's racist, right? But then when you have shit like this going on, can you blame them?
Seriously? Get the fuck out.
Yo, wash your fucking mouth.
Okay, well, look, I have no problem.
I gotta pause it because it really escalates and I can't show it on YouTube, but they hit him in the face, they put a gun to him, and it just gets way out of hand for no reason. Right here, this actually happened where I live, which is hilarious, but both parties are probably in the wrong here a little bit, because you shouldn't be touching people's cars, but you also shouldn't be parked in the bike lane. The thing is, though, it didn't need to escalate to the extent to which this situation escalates. Look at this.
Please move. You're in the bike lane and blocking the sidewalk here. Yeah, you're blocking the curb cut here.
Why are you touching my car, bro?
Because you're in my space, public space.
Don't touch my car, bro.
Okay, move then.
Don't touch my car, bro.
Okay.
Bro, what the fuck are you doing, bro?
Please move.
Want you the police or something?
No, I'm trying
Don't touch my car no more then, bro.
Okay.
You tripping like shit, nigga.
Really
What the fuck is wrong with you, boy?
Right.
I bet you won't touch it no more. I bet you won't touch it no more. Yeah, I know.
That's just instigating. Like, the dude could have said, I'm sorry for touching your car, but you are parked in the bike lane. And the other guy could be said, okay, just, don't touch my car and shit. But, it is what it is. It already happened. And get out the bike lane and make shit right. Both parties could have gone about their way, but instead it's instigation. It's the constant pressing of it. Don't touch my car. Don't touch my car. I bet you won't do it again. I bet you won't do, like, for no reason. And not all black people act like this, but when this is the type of shit you see on social media, it's gonna leave people with a certain impression. Look at this.
I bet you won't touch it no more.
It's annoying, but don't ride up on my shit and touch it.
You're in public space.
Nigga, you just rolled up and did like
because
this.
It's the bike
We're
lane.
working. The fuck you gonna do about it?
I don't really care.
The fuck you gonna do about it?
What, you want to
Real
get my
loud, bro.
face? What?
Nigga, you touch my car,
Real
right? Get the fuck. Move. Just come on.
And then I don't know if he actually got a strap out the back seat. It looks more like he acted like he got a strap out the back seat, but he acts like he put some shit in his pants or whatever to try to scare the dude, like he's about to shoot him or something. But it's just like, why did it have to get this far, bro? It's an ego thing. Like, why couldn't y'all just have your first interaction, apologize, and drive out the bike lane? Why do you feel entitled to that spot? Why does it have to be an ego thing? Why does it have to be an aggression thing? Why does it have to escalate to you pretending like you're about to kill him in broad daylight? Why did it need to get that far for no reason?
Because it's not.
Man, I don't give a fuck, nigga. I'm working.
Don't come up
I don't
Fuck you,
care.
man, nigga.
I don't care.
Bitch ass
Niggas
nigga.
think just because they white, they can touch people's
mean?
shit.
No.
And once again, it's just it's gotta be made a race thing. No, it's how would he know? Like, he didn't know who was in the car. Obviously, he didn't know what color you were when you were in the car, bro. There's no way he could have knew that. It's always it's so funny, bro. I remember I was living in this apartment complex and there was a shootout in the middle of the hall, bullets everywhere, all throughout the hall. Someone got hit. There was blood all over the floor, and I was right there. And the police pull up, right? After it's all said and done, after the fucking gun smoke clears out, the police pull up and they start, asking questions and cuffing people. And this dude, he was a black man, started freaking out and shit, losing his mind because they were putting his hands on him and trying to put cuffs on him. And he kept screaming, "Oh, it's because I'm black. It's because I'm black. You doing this because I'm black." Like, it's always, bro, you knew you were in the wrong, bro. There's bullet holes in the walls, bro. There's blood on the floor. Okay, like, and they're still saying, "Oh, this is because I'm black." Like, no, it's not because you're black. It's because there's bullet holes in the wall, bro. But everyone has to make it a race thing. Even when people know they're in the wrong, they know they can fall back on the race card because that is entitlement. That is privilege. Once again, this is just the type of shit you see going on social media. Thinking this shit's hilarious. Because he kicked over a porta potty with a girl in it, and obviously all the shit and piss and other stuff in the porta potty got all over the girl who was inside of it, and they think it's hilarious. Like, it's just, like I said, it's the value for human life in the black community right now, because of the culture, is so low. Like, no one cares about anything. It's cool to not give a shit about anybody or anything. This girl's in here screaming because she's covered in other people's shit and piss, and they're over here laughing about it like it's funny. I don't understand, bro. I really don't understand what is. And yeah, it's in DC too. It's in or this may be PG, but I know it's in the DMV area because he said Mo, and that's some slang out here. So I know he's around my area. But and this is what I mean by, like, I see this shit with my own two eyes, bro. I live here. Like, 2 of these videos are from where I live, bro. Like, I really see this shit go down. Like, I know what I'm talking about. This is my own experience I'm speaking on. I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm speaking from my own experience. This is what I'm seeing. And look, she's covered, and they think this shit's hilarious. This shit is not funny, bro. And this right here is what I mean by just the degeneracy, the self-degradation. Like, look at this shit, bro. I'm sorry, but it's just self-degradation. It's no self-respect. And this is what gets people, clicks and views and money, is acting like this in the black community. Like, this is what they have to do to get big, get popular, get some money, bro. Like, it's sad. It's sad that people have to stoop this low and degrade themselves to this extent to get the viewership and get shit. You don't see white people needing to do shit like this. You don't see Asian people needing to do shit like this for attention, views, money, etc. This shit is sad, bro. Like, look at this. Swinging around a shirt that says free somebody, swinging around blue bandanas. Like, it's so sad, bro. It's so pathetic and sad. This right here is a video. Obviously, you see this dude's getting knocked out in the middle of some restaurant somewhere. And it's just like, once again, it's pattern recognition. It's the same shit. You see, like, I'm sorry, but you're not seeing Asians and Hispanic. You're not seeing videos of them beating each other up in the lobby of an Applebee's, bro. Like, you're not, to the extent that we're seeing it on one side, we're not seeing it on the other sides. And that's the problem. That's the issue I have. I don't like seeing my own community constantly be in the spotlight for doing dumb shit like this. Like, it's annoying to me. It's embarrassing. They go to Ghana and start twerking on a slave dungeon where people have died, saying it's for their ancestors. Do you know how disrespectful that is? Like, oh my God, it's so bad. Like once again, it's no self-respect. It's self-degradation, all for some clicks and some views. Like, bro, look at this shit. That's wild, bro. And they're laughing and mocking it for the ancestors. Like, bro, what are you talking about, bro? That is so disrespectful. But that's the thing. It's a cultural thing. Because African American culture does not promote respect. It doesn't promote it. So of course they're not gonna come over there with some respect. They're over here twerking and shit, walking the streets, screaming, trying to get my coochie scratched and shit. Like, bro, because this is what the culture promotes. You can't say this is a culture that promotes excellence when you see the product of the culture on full display right here. You see it. It's everywhere, bro, and it's terrible. I hate to see it. But that's the thing, is not all black people are involved to the culture in this extent. The majority of black people I know personally hate this type of behavior. They think it's ratchet. They think it's disgusting. They don't want to be around it. They avoid it at all costs. And this is what I'm trying to tell people who don't know a lot of black people. Bro, despite what you see on social media, not all black people act like this. But the issue is, this is what you see pervasive throughout social media. You see it everywhere, and that's the problem. This is a video I find very interesting, and I saw some people calling it racist, but you got this black guy, he goes to the Philippines, and a bunch of the Filipino kids come up to him. They start throwing gang signs and calling him the N-word and stuff. And people think that's racist or whatever. But here's the thing is, this is exactly what I mean by the culture promotes this stuff. You know, a lot of people are out here saying it's racist that they're doing this shit. But the thing is, this is the culture. This is what other people who are not exposed to black people, this is what they see. This is what the culture promotes in the media and on social media, etc., etc. This is what they see. And music, they hear it. Like, they think that black people want to be treated like this. They think that when a black person goes by, that they, you know, the gang signs and calling them the N-word, like, they think that shit's cool because it's promoted as cool in the culture. That's all they see. So that's their only impression of black people, is throwing up gang signs and doing all this other ratchet bullshit. Like, look right here, racism at its innocent form. Bro, how is it racism if this is what the culture is promoting? I bet this same person that's saying that this is racism is also, with all this same music, rapping along, throwing up the same gang signs, knows all the words to all these songs, rapping about killing black people, doing drugs, da-da-da. Like, this is probably the same person on all this same shit. How can you blame them if they're just participating in what the culture is putting out there? This is the impression that they're leaving on people. Like, just look.
Hey. What up, boy? Global CZ, Global CZ.
They're telling him to crip walk this shit.
You crip walk. Sturdy. You get sturdy.
And that's the thing, is like, do they look like racist kids? Like, they're not racist. They're innocent, bro. They're just playing around. Like, they think this is okay. That's the thing, because the culture promotes this as being okay on the mainstream. So they have no idea this shit is offensive. They think this guy likes this shit. They think he was going to think it's cool and be accepted. You know, they think they're doing something good, something positive by doing this. But really it's not, because that part of the culture isn't reflective on all black people, because not all black people are involved with the culture to that extent, because that is an extreme.
I don't care what people don't like. They got mad when I said I don't support Black Lives Matter, because who they matter to? We kill each other all day. We talk about each other all day. You know who talk about me the most on the internet? Niggas. Niggas. You know what's worse than a nigga? 2 of them. Yes. Make you don't want to be a nigga. Yeah, man, it don't be nobody else talking about me. It be niggas, my own people that look like me. Talk about me like a dog. Kick me when I'm down. Can't wait. look at Gates. Went to jail, they celebrated, clapped their hands, it was happy. I don't look at color and see race no more. I see real and fake, that's it. Even when I see police, what's up, big man? Don't work too hard.
Well, you gonna say he's racist for this shit? He's not racist for it. Bro, this is facts. It's sad what he's saying, but it's true. That's the thing. It's true. This is very sad, but once again, you see these Asian women getting attacked, and you know that Stop Asian Hate movement was real big until everyone saw the videos of who was attacking all the Asian people, and when they saw that it was all black people doing it, then that Stop Asian Hate shit went right out the window, and it just got radio silent. And this guy on YouTube, I'll find the video and link it somewhere, but he made a whole video about it, about how nobody really takes the Stop Asian Hate serious, and no one is actually acknowledging the issue that is black people attacking all these Asian people. And he points out the hypocrisy and points out that, like, why did it get silent when everyone found out who was doing it? Why can't we call it out for what it is? Why can't we address this shit? Not addressing this shit and being quiet about it is why it's so pervasive. It's why this keeps happening. It festers and it grows. But yeah, I can't show this video because there's people being physically assaulted in it, but it's some black girls just beating the shit and robbing these Asian women in the middle of the street. I think this shit is hilarious right here.
Whiteness is a cult, and they will always come to the defense of their cult members.
Right. White people are the ones who are wearing t-shirts about how proud they are about their race. White people are the ones rallying in the streets about their race. White people are the ones race-swapping characters even though it's completely historically inaccurate. White people are the ones getting their own categories on Uber Eats, Hulu, and Netflix. And of course, it was in the name of white people that we got over $2 billion in damages here in the United States due to the riots that happened in 2020. Not to mention the 20+ people who died in the mostly peaceful protests. All that, and when you're a white person who tries to talk about it and call them out and say that they're engaged in groupthink and suppressing skepticism, they tell you you're not a white person anymore. That lady's right. Whiteness is the cult.
And she addresses a lot of the points I just made. You know what I mean? She addresses all those same points about, you know, the sheep mentality, the disownments of members of the community if they think differently, et cetera, et cetera. Like she hits the nail on the head here. And you don't have to like what she's affiliated with, because this is a popular content creator right here. And I know a lot of people maybe feel personally on her political views or her as a person. But the point she's making still stands whether you like her or not. That this shit, what she's saying right here, is totally true. And this lady right here with this mentality, this is what breeds the entitlement within the black community. It's this shit right here. Once again, it's a cultural thing, not a race thing. And I'm going to show you with this video right here.
African people stay here, I have Jamaican people stay here, I have white people stay here, I have Spanish people stay here, and I have black Americans stay here. I'm not saying not all black Americans are bad, but the ones that came to my place have been nothing but problem. Only 2 good ones came here, out of all of them. Fight late at night, not with me, with each other. They're disrespectful, they're entitled, they're unappreciative. And it is that way because America has spoiled them and give them so much free shit, where they think they could come to Jamaica and get the same free shit out here and be nasty about it. I'm not saying all of you are like that, but because of that, I'm not risking my health and my happiness for people. No short-term stay. No short-term stay. It's not going to happen here. I'd rather eat salt and banana and let goats and cows live into my houses than I have people come here and stress me. I would not hate my business because of customers. A lot of business people are miserable because of some kind of customer. Not this place. I don't want my place is drama free.
That's crazy, bro. She's saying everything I'm saying. Everything. What, you going to call her racist? No, it's true. 100%. It's true. It's not a race thing. It's a cultural thing. I mean, it's an issue with the culture that's not allowed to get addressed. And people were attacking her for this video. This was a very controversial video at the time, but I mean, how are you gonna deny her experience? This is her personal experience. It's pattern recognition. She notices that the people she rents her house to that are white, African, Jamaican, etc., they take care of her house. But when she rents it out to African Americans, they fight in it, they cause a mess, etc., etc. It's a bunch of drama and bullshit she doesn't want to deal with. She says they're entitled and a bunch of other things. I mean, it's just pattern recognition. So now she doesn't want to rent her house to African Americans. She's going to pick and choose now to not rent it to them. Just like these businesses pick and choose to pull their places out of African-American communities or not establish businesses in those communities in the first place. Or these store owners follow around African-American customers to make sure they don't steal shit, bro. It's pattern recognition. It's an issue with the culture, not the race, the culture. Look at this video right here. This dude trying to steal shit and this African security guard gets on him over it.
Get away from here. Don't get away from here. Get the fuck away from here. Beast. I'm gonna walk and make money.
He said he called him a beast and said to go work and make money. And these comments are all correct. And I've already mentioned it. Africans are not very fond of African Americans, like this guy said right here. Like, if you want to hear some of the most wild bullshit get said about African Americans, listen to an African person talk about them. Like, it's really bad. And obviously not all of them, but there's definitely some animosity and tension between the two, and that further proves my point that it's not a race thing, it's a cultural thing. Like right here, this guy says actual Africans aren't very fond of black Americans. I don't think people have realized this yet. And the thing is, like, if you know some African people personally, like I grew up with a lot of African people, and I've heard like their parents and stuff, how they speak about African Americans, and I've heard some crazy shit. Yeah, it's pretty bad, but it's different cultures, man. They don't put up with that shit over there, bro. They don't put up with that shit. So when they see the entitlement and this bullshit behavior go on over here and everyone just lets it slide, they don't rock with that. Hey, this shit is crazy, bro. Like, what the?
Okay, so this is what I mean by issues with our culture, right? We should be coming out of the woodworks to condemn this. But I will condemn this, and black people will still get mad at me for condemning this behavior. They will call me a race traitor. You don't care about your race. How are you siding with the other side? These girls are stealing from Walmart and eating it and bragging about it.
Once again, with the disownment for calling some shit out or thinking differently.
You're worried about what side I'm on. There shouldn't be any side. It should be, this is wrong, this needs to stop, let's get that fixed. That's what it should be. And again, when it comes to our culture, look what they're teaching the young. Yeah, it's okay, girl, let's just walk into Walmart, steal what we want and eat it whenever. They're not gonna stop us, let's just go do that, knowing it's wrong. Or do they know it's wrong?
And they know no white person can speak out about it, because then you can call them racist, and that's a terrible label to have attached to yourself. So no white people are gonna even risk getting that label attached to themselves. So it's up to black people to call this shit out, you know, to call members of their own community out for this bullshit. But once again, they're afraid of getting disowned by their own community, so a lot of people stay quiet about it.
There needs to be something to disincentivize this behavior, because right now there's nothing that I'm seeing. And clearly it doesn't seem like their parents are doing anything.
100%. And that's why I say it's entitlement. They feel entitled. It's being spoiled. It's entitlement. And they know there's going to be no punishment behind this. That's why they're over here recording it and posting it on social media, because nothing's going to happen. It's black privilege.
I just feel like black lives don't matter because they don't matter with themselves, because they're killing one another. And also, aside of the media, it's like being perpetrated as the black community is doing this and this and this, and that the Democrats are helping the black community, but really they're not helping the black community. So it's the media that puts out what they want to be put out. It's not necessarily Black Lives Matter or white lives that matter. No, all lives what matter. It's all lives that matter. And when people say that, they get offended, but it's true, because at the end of the day, our lives do matter. It doesn't matter if you die that you're black, you're white, you're whatever. That doesn't matter. It's just us as humans is what matters. And I think that the black community, when you separate yourself from that whole Black Lives Matter, now you're no longer black, or you're no longer a part of the crew, and that's not true. You're just saying, yes, you do matter, but you just matter as a person and not as a color.
Once again, she spoke to almost everything I've already said in this video. And she also mentions about how Democrats kind of convince minorities that they're actually for them, and, you know, support us, and we'll have you back. You know what I mean? We're going to fix everything, and nothing ever comes of it. She just said everything I've already said 100%, and it's true. 100%. This is entitlement right here. This is entitlement. She pepper sprayed the teacher for taking her phone. Bro, you gonna tell me that this is not some spoiled bullshit, some crazy entitlement right now? Is that what you're really trying to sit here and tell me? Like,